And welcome to Next Chapter, Planning Your Retirement Story with your host, Stephen Sabo, financial advisor at Executive Financial Group in the greater Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. And if you want to get more episodes of this podcast, not only do you go to Apple and Spotify, but you can go to mynextchapterliving.com. I'm your co-host, Doug Turnbull. And Stephen, thanks for joining us today. And you've been telling me here it's been, been hunting season there in the Keystone State.
Yes, sir. Yeah. We've been, my cousin's got a couple hunting dogs. And so we've been doing some pheasant hunting. And then come Thanksgiving, deer season starts here in Pennsylvania right after that. So I'll be up there. I'm not a huge hunter anymore, but I still like to get out. It's more about family time, hanging out with, uncles and cousins and people you haven't seen in a while. And just getting out in the woods and enjoying yourself and having a little bit of downtime.
Will there be any pheasants on the Thanksgiving table?
You know what? Probably not this year. We did go out not too long ago, and we got a handful of them, but we ate most of them that night, and so probably not this year. But that's a good idea. Maybe one of these upcoming years, I'll have to.
A lot of hunters are good cooks. Can you make some meat tender there?
I love to cook. Yes, I absolutely could. So I'm a huge cook. I do most of the cooking for me and my fiance. So I love that type of stuff. And then same with camp. I've kind of been relegated to the chef there at camp. Okay. So I take care of all the cooking there. Yep.
Man, I could just think hunter's camp stew. That sounds, I'm not even a big meat eater, and that sounds pretty darn good. So, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the added benefits of going to Executive Financial Group there is if you draw the Stephen stick, you might have some good vettles there in the office.
That's right.
So, Stephen, today, and this has been top of mind for a lot of people that come into your office at Executive Financial Group and go to mynextchapterliving.com. And of course, been top of mind, other advisors I talked to, people around the office, is now we know the results of the 2024 presidential election and then everything that feeds down from it.
That's right.
And we've seen already market reactions to that. So
that's right.
How much should people read into what the market's doing right now, and what should people be planning for as we go into 2025?
Well, you brought up a good point there and reading into markets. And, one of the things that I try to steer people away from too much is reading too much into the markets. Obviously, we're changing directions with the presidents, and whether you like what we're doing or what we're not, we're seeing different things happen right now. And so far, from the market side of things, it's been relatively positive. And I think that's kind of indicative of what happened in the election. We're changing routes. I think that you're going to see some kind of that honeymoon phase, if you will, right? We're switching presidents in general. And so I think that you're going to see some excitement over the next 12 months, something like that. But, we really don't know what's in store yet until they start to implement some of their policies and we kind of see how the markets react to them. But I do believe that we're going to see a bit of what we're calling, kind of the honeymoon phase anyway, where there is excitement. People are excited about a change, and, they believe that this candidate is going to be better for the economy. And, like I said, though, about reading too much into it, you never want to just make a knee-jerk reaction to anything whenever it comes to your retirement. And we try and set people up in a way so that no matter who wins a presidential election, no matter what happens in our economy, no matter what takes place, that we have a plan in place to react and to be able to, either head off something or, just allow things to happen without really affecting what's going on in your life. If we've done our job correctly, you're going to be okay no matter who wins the presidency, if it's somebody that you like, if it's somebody that you don't like. If things go well, you're still going to be okay. If things go south, you're still going to be okay. And so we really try and focus on making sure that our clients are in a position that no matter what happens, no matter who wins, no matter who takes office, we're going to be in a position that you're still getting your income, your downside's protected, you still have opportunity for growth, and that you really don't have to make any emotional decisions at the time.
And I think that's easy to make an emotional decision on one's own. How hard is it on one's own without the help of a financial advisor like yourself to do some of those safe growth opportunities? I feel like you're part of a firm that has a battery of people that has access to tools and even things that are proprietary potentially. So what does Executive Financial Group have to offer to somebody that maybe somebody trying to do the DIY route on investing and financial planning doesn't have?
Right. Well, again, yeah, we have all kinds of different tools and stuff like that. And like you said, we're working with tons of different industry people that are, kind of helping us make decisions as well, because there's a lot of things have come a long way. It used to be that you were in the stock market, right? Or maybe you went to the bank and got something safe or did something with bonds. But there's a lot more today. There are things like annuities, there's fixed indexed annuities, there's, all kinds of different products and services out there that help protect from the downside, that can help on the upside of things, and we want to make sure that we're utilizing those when they're right for the client and making sure that they're a part of their plan if it's right for that client, and so if you're looking to protect the downside, like I said, there are a lot of opportunities there to be able to still get good market growth in something, but protect that downside on the way down. And, we just want to make sure that our clients have a little bit of everything, because, we don't know what's going to happen. If somebody sits there and says I can predict what's going to happen in the stock market, down to every little last thing, I think you're foolish if you're following them, because most people cannot. And, it's been shown time and time again, whenever you try and time the markets, typically that ends up being bad for somebody. And again, emotion plays a lot into that. You're riding the high of something and you say, I'm going to squeeze out a few more pennies. And then you take your eyes off the wheel and all of a sudden now it's going backwards and you're saying, oh, well, I don't know yet. I'm not going to pull it out yet. And then all of a sudden you yank it out at a time because you're afraid that you're going to lose everything. And and then you don't know when to get back in. You constantly are playing this game of, did I make the right decision?
Yeah.
Did I not? So we want to take some of that out of the equation and say, hey, look, you're not always going to get everything 100% right. But as long as you're moving forward, as long as we're meeting your goals and objectives and you're protected and you have the income that you need, and we've done things for tax planning and estate planning, then as long as you're meeting your objectives, you're okay.
So how do you and the team, Stephen, determine the income you need part? How do you and the team, when you sit down, if someone brand new is going to mynextchapterliving.com, like what would you tell them that you walk them through so they even know what the right number of need is before we even find out how to achieve it?
Right. Yeah. So, we're going to do a lot of things. We're going to sit down and we're going to have a meeting with you, and we're really going to dive into what are your expenses? Let's do a budget. Have you ever done a budget and seen, okay, what do I have coming in each month while I'm working? And what am I spending on my fixed bills and everything like that? So, we need to know at least, all right, these are the bills that need paid. And this is how much money you need for that. And then obviously you want to live above and beyond that. So we need to make sure that there's room for, some extra money in there for you to have fun and enjoy yourself in retirement, because that's what it's all about here. So, so we're going to sit down and we're going to look at a budget, and we're going to, whether you've done one or not, we're going to make you do one, and we're going to, we're going to go over that. And then it's about looking at where the income is coming from once you retire. Do you have a pension, or do you just have a 401k or a 403b, something like that? Obviously, Social Security. If you're entitled to Social Security, most people are. What are you entitled to? How much and at what different ages are you entitled to it? And then from there, it's okay, well, maybe you have a small pension and maybe you have a little bit of Social Security, but that doesn't quite meet your budgetary needs. Where are we going to draw that money from there? So you've saved up this other pool of money outside of your pension and maybe in a 401k or other investment accounts outside. And now it's my job to say, all right, well, we need to make up X amount of dollars in order to fill the hole there in your budget. How are we going to do that? And we're going to take a look at what you have and come up with a game plan to draw that income without running out of money, without causing any problems, and making sure that it's going to last for your lifetime.
Well, if this is a concern, anybody listening in that you have, okay, if this is a concern that you have and you haven't thought about it too much, maybe you've just thought about how much is it going to grow, and you haven't thought about how much am I going to need later on, or how much do I want to take out each month, then you need to get with Stephen and his team there, and they could sit down and I'm sure you do. When they go to mynextchapterliving.com, you do a portfolio analysis or an asset analysis. Yeah. Walk us through some of that here before we wrap up.
Yeah, I mean, we actually had a client earlier today that came in and part of what they wanted to do was she had called us and said, you know what, I had read a little bit about some stuff online, and I think she didn't have a pension at work. And she said, I wanted to be able to create a bit of an income. Her husband had a pension and they have Social Security. So their income needs were fairly well taken care of, but they're not as concerned with leaving money to their heirs. So they said, we want to enjoy ourselves, right? But I've got this pool of money over here, Stephen, but I don't know, what's going to happen in the stock market, and how do I guarantee to take so much out, and what can I do? And, gosh, it'd be great if I had a pension. And we said, well, let's take a look at what you do have, and let's see where you are with things. Like you said, let's do a portfolio analysis and see, all right, what type of investments do you have? What type of accounts do you have? And could we create your own personal pension outside of a work plan? And that's what we're going to end up doing for her, is we're going to create what we call a personal pension, if you will. It's just like one would be at work, but we're using, money that it maybe was saved outside of work, and we're going to take a certain amount of it. We're going to determine how much income that they want, and then we're going to figure out how much we would need to take to guarantee that income for the rest of her life, as long as she lived. And, anything that's left over could go on to her heirs. And again, that wasn't a huge concern of hers, but it was mainly creating that income. And so, like I said, we want to take a look at that portfolio, see where it is, and see what we need to do to change it in order to create that for her.
Well, that's certainly something you can't just do by yourself. Or no. Here's the deal. There's also that sounds great, and then you don't actually do it. I'm the king of that.
Sure.
Okay. So you got to go to, again, mynextchapterliving.com. That takes you to the podcast splash page, but that's also on the Executive Financial Group's page, and then dig in over there and see how Stephen and the team can help. And you do have a team of people, Stephen. You're not just sitting in the office by yourself, right?
No, sir. No. You know what? I'm here. I've got some staff people. My sister, like I said, my father's here. But then not only that, we've got a whole team of people behind us, kind of a, quote, back office, if you will, team of experts all over the country that we work with, and that we kind of, that help us advise on certain things. And there's a lot of stuff out there today. There's a lot of products and services and offerings. And so it's hard to stay up on it all the time. And, having a team behind us that is, has all that knowledge and has it at their fingertips that can help us out is really great. So.
Well, absolutely. Look, previous episodes of this, just to feed into that point before we wrap this one up, we have talked about, just in the last two episodes before it, the retirement account changes for 2025, some tweaks and different accounts people invest in, and your quarter four to-do list. So we know that there are a lot of variables and things that change, and we know that there are things that people need to mark off on that punch list before the end of the year. That's why you got to go, again, to mynextchapterliving.com and dig in with Stephen and the team there. Well, Stephen, thank you so much for jumping in and giving us your insight about the election, but really more importantly, how not to be knee-jerk or emotional, as you could make just one little course correction, and that could cause a big change, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. We want to take the emotions out of it whenever we're building a plan, because emotions are what's going to get you into trouble. So we try and do our best to take that out of there and make sure that you're okay no matter what happens.
That's right. Well, that's definitely what we want to do there. mynextchapterliving.com. Well, thank you, Stephen, for giving us that insight there. Thanks to our producer, Daniel Salerson, for putting this up on Apple and Spotify and on mynextchapterliving.com. And we appreciate y'all tuning in here during this holiday season. We hope you had having a great holidays, and we'll talk to you very soon with another episode of Next Chapter, Planning Your Retirement Story.
The opinions expressed by Stephen Sabo and guests on this podcast are their own and do not reflect the opinions of this podcast station. All statements and opinions expressed are based upon information considered reliable, although it should not be relied upon as such. Any statements or opinions are subject to change without notice. Investments involve risk and, unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Past performance cannot be used as an indicator to determine future results. Any strategies mentioned may not be suitable for everyone. Information expressed does not take into account your specific situation or objectives and is not intended as recommendations appropriate for you. Before acting on any information mentioned, please consult with a qualified tax or investment advisor to determine if it is suitable for your specific situation. This program is designed to provide accurate and authoritative information with regard to subject covered. Investment advisory services offered through Virtue Capital Management, LLC, VCM, a registered investment advisor. VCM and Executive Financial Group are independent of each other. Pennsylvania Insurance License number 670429. Any guarantees mentioned are backed by the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company and may be subject to caps, restrictions, fees, and surrender charges as described in the annuity contract. Stephen Sabo and/or Executive Financial Group are not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency.